Pledge allegiance on the workshops, but okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the budget workshop meeting April 29th to order. And Sue, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Lesser,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Rhodes. Here. Councillor Bailey,
Here.
Councillor DiCiaccio,
Here.
Councillor Durick,
Here.
Councillor Forrest, Councillor Pentelo,
Here.
Councillor Wands,
Here.
Councillor Weiner.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Well, good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day. We've had a few days of beautiful weather. I got to take a little walk, Old Wethersfield, before the meeting, and the bikes are already out, so they look good, and there's more than maybe a dozen or so, and there'll be, I think, about 70 or so in the next couple days, the bikes, and we're excited about that. Lots of fun things happening. The ceremony is this Sunday for anybody who wants to go to the bike domain, as well as the ride at 10:30, the bike ride. So I hope some folks will join me in that ride. But tonight we're excited to start with our building group. And Steve, I don't know if you're going to lead us off, but welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Sean, sorry,
It's all
Steve.
good.
Sean.
I don't know if that's
Sorry to call you
a
Steve.
compliment. I don't know if that's a compliment to me or Steve. I'm not sure
No,
where that.
and I've known you
where
for a
that
long
goes,
time. When it's,
That's okay.
I must
It's
be
all good.
aging. Sean, I'm sorry.
I'll put it on record. That's actually a compliment, so I'll take that.
My apologies, Sean.
No problem at all. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Manager Presley, and council members. My name is Sean Hussey, Chief Building Official. With me tonight is Debbie Picard, the Building Department's Administrative Assistant. Thank you for the opportunity for us to present our budget. I'd like to start with a brief overview of what we do to anyone unfamiliar with our role here in the town of Wethersfield. While enforcing our state building code, we also review all submitted applications, and once approved as a permit, the building department performs inspections in prompt fashion. This past fiscal year, we completed nearly 3,000 inspections. In addition to the aforementioned applications, we also reviewed 35 planning and zoning applications. Aside from these tasks, we are required to achieve 30 hours of continuing education per year for licensure renewal. And as building officials, we are also on call in case of any emergencies within town. Our permit numbers continue to increase, as seen on page 126. Fiscal year 24-25 totaled 2,247 permits. The projected total for this fiscal year is to have 2,331 permits. Coincidentally, our revenues have increased. Fiscal year 24-25 yielded a revenue of $742,000. Fiscal year 25-26 is estimated to be approximately $760,000. My projected and approximate numbers are based solely on the months of May and June totals of last year. They are conservative numbers, but make more sense when comparing to previously completed fiscal years. Staying on topic of revenues, our numbers can be somewhat skewed a bit. Permit numbers are more of an accurate representation. The reason I mention this is there are times when permits are issued, large or small, and revenues aren't generated. Currently, 2 large projects we have are ideal examples of this. The library and Wethersfield Housing Authority are both undergoing extensive renovations, and while we don't collect permit fees for these, we still need to perform our roles as building officials for reviews and inspections. As our workload increases, it is imperative for the building department to maintain 3 full-time employees. In addition to myself, the building development administrator is a vital role in the building department to not only serve duties of the building department, but to oversee larger projects in town to ensure they proceed seamlessly between town staff and contractors in the field. Currently, this role is held by building official Steve Latarullo. The next position is the assistant building official. With essential help from assistant town manager Erica Robertson, we were able to curate an apprentice program for this position. Municipalities across the state are struggling to fill building official positions. This apprentice concept brings a qualified candidate in to learn their position while studying for licensure. In addition to the 3 full-time employees, we also have a need for our part-time inspector, David Jolly. Dave has been with the town for 6 years, and his part-time role fits perfectly with our apprentice program. Currently, Dave is working 10 hours per week, and his time will be divided between plan review and apprentice training whenever needed. I'm proud to work for the town of Wethersfield and to have unique positions within my department to assist as best as possible for the residents in town. And lastly, in closing, I would just like to say thank you all for what you do. I myself has served on multiple boards and committees, and I completely understand the dedication and time it takes to serve the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Open it up for comments and questions from councilors. Anyone? Councilor Pennell? No? Councilor Pennell.
I just have a couple questions that I looked at. We use OpenGov, right, now?
That's correct, yes.
I didn't see that in the budget. That still costs us money, doesn't it? Because it comes out of the permit fee.
Well, OpenGov does, but it's a platform that's used kind of within town hall confines. So the planning department's using it, engineering department's using it. So it's kind of a hybrid, if you will, for all departments to become uniform. And its really intent is to make it easier on the public portal side.
It's harder on you guys right now, I know that.
That's correct. You are correct about that. But we have noticed a lot of people are kind of praising us on the public side that it is easier for them to navigate and populate while we utilize OpenGov.
Perfect. And I just lost my note here. Hold on one second. Good.
That licensing is in the IT department budget.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because I know originally when we first, well, most towns went to it, they upload all the permits and they charge you a certain fee. And then everything, I don't know how far we go back, but most towns it's 20 years. And then every time we take a permit out, that part of that fee goes to OpenGov. I don't know if that's the way we're doing it, but I'll find my notes, but I read yours. I think it's great. I want to say it up front that you guys are a cash cow, and we should know that as a council. You know, hopefully we're all looking at being respectable and understanding for the town people, but this is one of those things that brings us money. And it's really important because I've worked closely with these guys, and there's money to be found and money to be had with this division. So thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Pentelow. Further council comments or questions? Councilor Durek.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Sean, for the presentation.
Thank you.
I just want to comment that as somebody who's pulled permits throughout the years, it's so much easier and nicer nowadays, and it's really nice to just go into the system, upload the pictures or documents. It makes it easier for everybody. I'm sure it helps your staff as well. And I also have a question. Last year we talked about implementing, I think, closeout fee on the permit.
That's correct.
Have you
yes.
started doing that?
We actually did. We implemented that July 1st of 2025. That was a certificate of approval fee. Certificate of occupancy was always in place, but we did add in the certificate of approval fee. That's correct.
And are we seeing the fees that we are collecting to be similar to what we estimated last year?
Correct, we are. Yeah, as I mentioned before, my numbers, it's a little difficult in kind of deciphering what our actual bottom line revenue number is, because I don't have, when the book is published, I don't have accurate numbers for permits and revenues. So what I did is I went back to May and June of 2025, and I took a conservative approach in that regard. We have large-scale projects coming up. We have 341 Jordan Lane that is currently under demolition right now, but we have not received any applications as of yet. Once we do that, revenue is going to be pretty high. So there's a lot of large-scale projects that are coming down the road.
Thank you. And just to understand, if we were to approve what's proposed, there'll be 2 of you full-time inspectors, but it will be you and Steve, and then there will be a third person who's going to come as apprentice and learn the job and get licensed. So you'll have 3 people working, which is what you think should you should have.
Yes, that's correct. Now, as an apprentice, currently this person would not be licensed, so he or she would not be able to actually institute permits nor do inspections. So that's part of the apprenticeship program, and kind of utilizing Dave Jolly as well as myself and Steve Lattarulo. That's where we can really, between classroom work and in the field work with us, it can really catch someone up very quickly.
But the person can still help a lot at the office.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Durek. Further council comments or questions? Yes, Councilor Chaccio.
Let's touch base on the inspections. How many inspections do you think you would do in a day?
In one day, currently it's just Steve and myself that do inspections. So we try to do, depending upon where the inspections are at, sometimes we'll go to take a new house, for example. A new house can require multiple inspections at that one site. We try to keep it around maybe 7-ish, 7 to 8 per person per day. Because not only is it the inspections, but we still need to investigate prior to going out. So we have to do research in order to kind of understand what we're looking at. And then in addition to that, if it's a closeout, we still have paperwork that has to be done there after the inspection. So we try to divvy it up to keep it realistic, which is really why getting the apprentice program up and running and then get someone licensed. Now, if they're able to do that, now instead of 7 per person or 7 for 2 people, now if we're at 3 people, instead of 14, we're doing 21.
So you're saying you do 2 people are doing 7 to 8 a day?
Correct.
14 to 16 a day, 5 days a week?
Well,
There's that much going on in
There's,
Wethersfield?
there is, yeah. I mean, as I mentioned, we are just under 3,000 inspections for last fiscal year, 29 and change. So rounding up makes it sound a little bit better, but roughly about that amount. Yeah.
We are about a week out, which many people don't like, with scheduling. Like, this week's already been booked. We're working into next week and the week after that.
Yeah.
So.
Are there any fines for someone that doesn't meet inspection or calls to schedule and they're not ready or they're not there for an inspection?
We do not impose any fines. We do run instances where there are no-shows. You know, people, maybe a contractor calls on behalf of a homeowner, and unbeknownst to the homeowner, they didn't realize they should be there. So, you know, Steve and I have encountered that. It is not something established in our code that we can do that. It would be more of a town charter kind of thing. Personally, I think it's a disservice to the residents of Wethersfield, so I've never really instituted it. I know.
Does it happen often?
Not that often. I know there are some towns that, on repeated failures of inspections, they may impose a fine. So if we have to come back 3 times, it might be a $100 fine, because now you're kind of wasting our time. You know, so there are towns that have done that. We can certainly look into that. I haven't done it at this point. We try to work with everybody as much as possible. And it's honestly, it's very rare to have those occurrences.
It's good.
So, yeah. And just to give a little bit of background on inspection-wise, I did a little polling of all the towns just to see where Wethersfield is at as a whole. And what I did was a calendar year, just to give everyone an idea of where Wethersfield stacks up. Newington, all these towns have 3 full-time employees: Newington, Berlin, Rocky Hill, Glastonbury. And we are, size-wise, we're comparable to Glastonbury, maybe a little bit, and Newington as well, a little bit larger than Berlin and Rocky Hill. So all these towns have 3 full-time inspectors. Newington calendar year did 1,600 permits. And again, I want to reiterate that calendar year for 2025, we're at 2,170, just to give you, and that's calendar year, so fiscal year is always a little bit different. So Newington did 1,600 as opposed to our 2,170. Berlin did 1,950. Rocky Hill did 1,480. Glastonbury did 2,055. So we're doing very well in Wethersfield. Given our size, given comparison to other towns, Steve and I have pretty much been going bonkers, the 2 of us. So the apprentice program is something we are truly welcoming. To have that third body with Dave Jolly. Dave Jolly served as CBOA president. He's been a building official for probably about 30 years. So it's really, it can be an aggressive campaign to kind of get an apprentice really caught up very fast to help us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chaccio. Councilor Pentel?
Just one question. How many years does an apprentice have to give the town once we train them? Like we see it, if we train them and all of a sudden I quit, now I'm certified and go to another town.
Post licensure, we have
Yeah.
a commitment for 2 years.
2 years. Thank you.
Not binding.
What's that?
Yeah,
It's not
it's,
binding, just remember, it's not binding. It's not like post when, certification 2 years.
Right.
We can't force someone to stay.
correct.
Talking to the mic, yep.
It's not binding. The expectation is that they stay with us.
Yeah. Or encouraged, yes. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Further council questions or comments? I just have a comment and a question. First, the comment, I get a lot of compliments about you and your team.
Oh, thank you.
You represent
Appreciate that.
Wethersfield very well, so thank you
Appreciate
for
that.
that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, the whole team. The question is regarding, you started stating some statistics about other towns, and I like that we're number one, but my question is really around sharing of resources. So I do hear often from other mayors, it's very hard to get building officials. You talked about that.
Yes.
Sean, has there been any discussions, is it possible in the future to have some type of sharing arrangement that a Wethersfield building official will help and work in Newington, a Newington building official, and maybe you do some of this already, but maybe in a strategic way down the road, we're sharing services between the towns. It's difficult to get high-quality people like you have, like you and Steve and stuff. So just a comment if you think that's possible. It comes up a lot in different meetings I have with other mayors and stuff, so.
It's a great question, Mr. Mayor. I think eventually, I think that's where it is headed. There's not a lot of young people that get into building officials. So it's really the people that get into it, they're there for maybe 5-10 years and then they seem to kind of move on and transition. I think it is a program that will work. I think it's a little convoluted in terms of liabilities. And that's something that really would have to be structured very well, where if it's a head building official that is in charge of 3 towns, how exactly does that work with assistants? But I do think eventually shared service is going to happen. Building officials across the state are not happy about it because they like the fact of having their own confines and not spreading into other municipalities. But I think with struggles trying to fill seats, I think that's where it might be headed.
Thank you, Sean.
I'll just add that we have actually filled in for other communities when they've been short, when they've been trying to get people in.
Yep.
I know Steve has gone over previous assistant building official. We've shared when they were in a bind with Newington and some other communities, because that's what we all have to do that. So.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's
And I
correct.
think, obviously, from getting the work done and sharing and having people in the career, but also economies of scale, as it's, to afford all the things we do, that hopefully in the future, that might be an opportunity for some economies of scale. Does anybody have any others? If not, we'll move on to the next. Sean, thank you.
Great.
Debbie, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
you.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good evening.
Have a good night.
Lada, I think you're up next. This is capital and strategic initiatives, everybody, 75 to 81 pages.
I'll let you get up there.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Have a good night, Sean. Debbie, have a good night.
I just-
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back another year. Thank you for all the work you do, and just to echo Sean, I think it's just wonderful that you dedicate your time to the town and all the wonderful work you get to do and these tough decisions you get to make. So I think I'll start off with just giving a little bit of background on the department, since some folks are new. So this is the second year that the department has existed, and my position, which was initially capital improvements coordinator, was created by Fred about 3 or 4 years ago. I came in about 3 years ago, and the department came to be 2 years ago. So I know a lot of folks know that I apply to grants, the department applies to grants, but there's so much more that's done within the department. In order just to be able to apply to a grant application, you have to really scope out the project, work with department heads to figure out what that is, sometimes with architects, engineers, conduct feasibility studies, really run the gambit to understand what we're trying to do for the town, work with stakeholders, town groups, public, to really understand where we're going. And I think that's a very important piece of the work I get to do across town. A lot of research, which is fascinating, in project management and just coordination with all those groups. Once we get a grant, or as we're working with agencies to contract, if we get an award, to really understand what the application criteria are even before that, and to make sure that we're moving forward with the COGS as well, working on a larger scale and with the state initiatives too. Once we get quotes, or even outside of, once we get a grant or even outside of grants, I support a lot of departments in soliciting quotes for various projects, whether they're grant related or not, writing RFPs and reviewing formal bids, and then contracting with consultants as well, and selecting and interviewing those consultants. I also support the strategic plan for the town and support its continued development, really working to develop our strategic plan on a digital software so that we can track it internally. And I'm very excited that we are just about to launch the public dashboard. I just recently sent Fred a link, and we're going to do some review internally before it goes live, and I'm sure we'll send it over to you folks as well, so you can just check it out. Also, the department does oversight of the CIP and CIAC process, which I know you're looking at those projects now that the committee has reviewed and provided some guidance on, and their thoughts. I've supported, and the department supported, ARPA projects and works closely in just streamlining processes with finance as well, since there's a heavy amount of reporting with grants. And also just, submitting for reimbursement of those grants as well, and closing out any projects. And over the last year or so, other external nonprofits and communities have reached out for some guidance on their grant applications as well. I've been asked to read and review grant applications for nonprofits, provide guidance on just where to look. And just recently, another community, a neighboring community, reached out because they're potentially thinking of having a position grow into one that's similar to mine and to the department's. So I think we're really at the forefront of something other folks would like to do. They just don't know how to get started. But I think they're seeing the success we've been having, which is really driving improvements in the region. So that's exciting. I'm just going to give you a pretty high-level rundown of grant applications, just very high-level numbers. I don't want to focus so much on how much and how many, because I don't think that speaks to the level of work or impact that a year has on the town. Just to take a step back, I also include in the report, in the budget, the year prior the grant applications, because it takes such a long time to hear if you've been awarded. So I included fiscal year 24-25 applications so that you could see what was awarded, because at the time that I submit my budget, we don't know often 90% of the grants we've applied to if we're going to get them or not. So just quick numbers from 24-25, number of applications that were submitted were 18. Total funding application amount was over $17 million to support total project costs of $14.7 million. We were awarded a little bit over $1.5 million, which is fantastic, and we were awarded 11 out of 18 grant applications, some of which you can see are small awards, but still impactful and useful across the community. And then for this year, you can see so far, we've applied to 9 applications. My numbers are slightly different than yours because we've submitted an application since the numbers went into the budget book. So just over 10 million in applications. Total project cost that's supported is about 12.5 million. And we've heard back about one where we've gotten 1,600. But as you can see, we've only heard about 2 grants, the majority of which are outstanding in that $10 million amount. So we're waiting to hear back. I'll also touch on what the match was used for last year that you provided the department. You allowed for $200,000 to go towards matches to live in the department. Roughly $60,000 is going for the Safe Streets and Roads for All corridor study of the Silas Deane Highway. Since I'm mentioning it, I'll give you a tidbit of where it is. We're wrapping up the needs and deficiencies. We're working on shortlisting 5 projects, 3 of which will be designed out, and a public meeting is tentative for July. So just a quick update on that. And then we did receive a CIF planning grant for the Pitkin Community Center expansion for roughly 10,000 square feet. I can go into those details at another time. And that cost is about $140,000. So that's the $200,000 that you allowed for. This year I am asking for another $200,000. Candidly, the one grant application that it would go towards on my list, because we know that we've received the award, is, I know also on Derek's list for engineering, is the Transportation Alternatives program. I know he's asked for $100,000 in CIP for that. The total need is about $200,000. I do ask for that $200,000 because things do come up that are outside of just matches. Sometimes we need to work through a feasibility study or get some guidance from consultants in order to be able just to submit for an award. So some level of funding is sometimes needed just to be able to move a project forward, to be able to submit. Agencies also want to invest in communities that invest in themselves. So sometimes it's difficult to submit applications when we have nothing to show them, when we don't have design plans. You know, we really rank at the bottom of a list when we don't have something to back up what we're saying, what we're going to do. We need professional quotes. And given that there's so much work out there, no one's giving out quotes willy-nilly. You need to pay to get an estimator to look at your project and to be able to provide a cost and for it to be accurate, you know, and I think that protects us as well. Those are kind of my expenses. We do have a position within the department that's vacant right now. The person that was in it had left in the fall, and we have already put it out. We've received many replies, so looking forward to interviewing some folks to come in to that role and provide additional support since there is just so much work to do. And we are seeing some funding, even though the federal level of funding is still pretty shaky. But I will end there. I know I've said a lot.
Thank you, Vlada. We appreciate that. Thank you for all the work you do. I'll open it up for council questions and comments. Councilor Dirk?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vlada. I just love the work that your department does. I mean, everybody's important, but I like seeing the money that's coming in to help us do the work that we need to do. A few questions for you. So you said there's an open position. Is that the second person on your team, or there will be an additional person on the team?
Same person, same position. It's vacant. The person that was in the position left. So we're filling it now.
Just you at the department right now?
What's that?
You're the only one at the department right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for the CIP, you said 200,000. Can you tell me which item on the CIP list that's for?
Yes, so it's the Transportation Alternatives Program, Collier and Cumberland Sidewalk Gap Closures. So we had received that grant funding, and our responsibility is to provide that match. So 200,000. Let me see where Derek's note is. The design has started and is progressing, but that will be for construction, which is slated for late 2027.
Okay. So you think awarding that money now would get the work started?
Well, they're working on the design work. That'll be for construction. I do want to say it is sometimes easier to have the funds sitting there when we know we've received the grant rather than a year from now, having all these additional projects moving forward and then having to come back and having to go through this administratively as we're doing all the administration for the active projects. We know we've gotten this one. It's moving forward. It's been approved. So to come back a year from now or in the future with this or other projects, it just becomes an administrative kind of difficulty to keep kind of keeping up with all these things instead of just, we have it, let's put money towards it, we know it's moving forward, and then keep projects moving along.
And the 200,000 is a total that we need to match on our end?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Durek. Councilor Wands.
Hi, Vlada. First of all, I want to, again, thank you for all the great work you do and have been doing. And like you said, it's work that is tough to see in 1 year because the grant applications take so long. So I appreciate you sharing the numbers from the previous year because a lot of these won't be seen until next year's budget cycle.
Exactly.
But I just want to clarify the question that Councilor Durek was asking here. So you're saying in the CIP budget, there is 100,000 requested for this year for the 200,000 total needed for the sidewalk gap closures. You're also saying that the 200,000 in your budget could be used for that. So we have basically a choice to make at this point? No.
Well, so the thing is, if it's not used for that in my budget, it will, chances are, be used for something else. Okay. I know that need is right there now. So, I mean, Derek requested 100,000. At the end of the year, if I don't have a match, I could put the second 100,000 towards that. I do request some amount of funding because, like I was saying, even if I don't have a match, in order to move other projects forward, when there's a grant application, often I have to move quickly. It's difficult to be coming to and from council when you have a grant application due 30 days from now, to wait for council to allocate funding, to be able to get a consultant on board, to solicit, everything moves so quickly that you only have such a finite amount of time, and that grant opportunity is gone, and it might not be here next year. It might not be here 6 months from now. It might not be here ever. So in order just to have funding sitting in the bank to be able to move some of those projects when the opportunity is there, it feels very necessary. Your specific question about this grant, we received that funding. Even if you fund Derek's project for the 100,000, he could hold that for his portion. If for some reason I don't need a match, I could match his other 100,000 at the end of the year. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yeah. Understood. Thank you, Vlada.
Thank you, Councilor Wands. Further council questions, comments? Seeing none. Oh, Deputy Mayor Rhodes.
It's nice to have you back. I know the work that you do is really important in bringing these funds in and finding these projects. So, it's just nice to have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's great to be able to work with you folks, all the departments, community, the public, and commissions. I get to work with HDC pretty often, and SHPO and DEEP, and everyone's trying to do good work, and it's refreshing to be able to get some of this funding and to be able to do that. And I don't know, feels good.
Well, Vlada, thank you for all the work you do. You've brought in so much money to town. You've helped us advance so many projects. Your efforts are very much appreciated. So thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, we'll move on to the next one. Thank you, Vlada.
Thank you.
And I think we have radio folks next. We've been seeing a lot of you lately, so it's nice to see you again. And I know that a nice dinner, Italian dinner, awaits Bob. So we'll ask our questions, but we're talking beforehand about a really nice dinner ahead of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you guys for doing. Floor's yours when you're ready.
All right. Well, thank you all for allowing us here. Get back and talk too loud, apparently. So, as everybody is, I'm just going to give a little background to everybody in the council so some of the newer members know who I am. Robert Kelleher with Radio Services. I've been with the town since 1995, either volunteering or paid. I did 28 years with the fire department in town. I've been with the town engineering department, then switched over to radio services from there. So John Eichner is my cohort in crime over at the radio services department. John's been doing it for numerous years. 14 years now. So I'm taking over for John. With radio services, We're in charge of townwide radio, which includes both police, fire, all the town services, including Board of Ed, the town garage, building, engineering, everybody that holds a radio in town, we're overseeing those mobiles, portables, and everything else. Included in the things that we do are we take care of 2 town-owned radio towers, which we collect revenue from AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. We have 6 shelters, 5 of which are used for radio equipment and when we rent for the city of Hartford. The 6th one is an abandoned shelter that we've made into a workshop so we can have some space to work on radios and make things work for the town. We have approximately 430 radios in service throughout the town, mostly with police and fire, but like I said, throughout all the other departments as well. This year, as you all well know, and I thank you very much, you guys approved our radio system upgrade. It's a huge uplift that we're going to be doing. So with that being said, we tried to keep our budget as slim as possible because you guys have already given us a lot. With that being said, we're working on a couple of things this year. Obviously, the upgrade is one of them. We're in the hopefully end process of getting our contract to the town manager once our language is straightened out, and then from there to the town attorneys, and we can have the manager sign off. Some of the other projects that we're working on is the Callahan site that we rent from Tower Point. We're renegotiating the contract there. We're trying to lower the numbers. Because the market value has changed, we're trying to lower our cost and lower the amounts of the escalators that they're trying to impose on our town so we can lessen the cost for the town to rent that facility. With that being said, currently we're working on moving our system forward in connections with all of our neighboring towns, Newington, Glastonbury, Rocky Hill, Berlin. Also, we're adding in the state of Connecticut. So we're trying to connect with the state system. We've purchased keys to that system. We're working with the state. Actually, we have a meeting with them next week to figure out the finalization stuff we need to do to start getting their stuff in our radios and our stuff in their radios. This will also give our police department connection to the state police. So other than just the hotline, that have connection to the state police system. So with that, I open up the floor to any questions.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, John. I'm going to open it up to Council. I see Councilor Bailey. Rich?
Hey, guys.
How are you, sir?
All right, in your expenditure account, you had 2 big numbers.
Yes, sir.
292,943 under support services, which represents 52.3% of your budget.
Which page you on?
Your expenditure report.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm trying to get all the numbers correct. So
No, that-
I just want to answer it properly for you.
And under specialized agency, you've only used 1.6% of that. I guess my thought is, with these big numbers, is there anything we can put towards the new radio upgrades?
So,
to lessen 26, 27 budget impact?
So one of the things that we've done to lessen the impact on the number for the upgrade is we're going to be utilizing monies from the speed cameras, and Fred wanted to comment on that, but it's going to bring that cost down to $304,228 for that cost instead of the larger number that we were looking at before. So we're offsetting it by half of that cost, but lower that number.
That's in 26, 27?
Yes.
Okay. I'm talking about 25, 26.
Oh, no.
Page 2.
Well, that's, I was trying to.
Bob, that's the money for new radios, handhelds, et cetera, that we typically hold to the end of the year.
Yes, so.
Gauge our
Till
needs.
the end of the year in case other stuff.
For portables, mobiles, any infrastructure that we need to.
All right, I see last
Control
year,
stations.
I'm guessing last year you had an encumbrance of 152, 658. That is, unspent? You have almost twice that.
Some of that was in a order that was placed. We haven't signed off on the full receipt.
You ordered what?
It was a parts order that we've gotten. We haven't signed off on everything, so that's still in an encumbrance. So most of that is spent. We're just waiting for all the parts to come in.
Okay. All right, so back to my question, is there any of this money, I mean, if you're gonna keep 150,000 for handhelds and whatever, is there any of this money that can go towards, work with the manager, go towards the next project to lessen the impact
That
on the taxpayers?
out of that 152, most of that is spent already. Like I said, we just have to.
All right, but the available budget is 292,943.
Correct. We have to order parts for the sites themselves and another order of parts, mobiles, portables, to keep the fleet up going. I mean, we can see if we can find some money somewhere. I mean, there's always room to look at stuff and see what we can do to.
All right, but aren't we redoing everything with the amount of money?
That's all background stuff. That's not mobiles, portables, and handheld equipment. So control stations, any terminal equipment or end user equipment is not covered in that upgrade. It's all the backbone of the system to keep it running.
It looks like there's 2 quarterly payments outstanding in that amount since this was run March 30th. So there's 2 quarterly, we make quarterly maintenance payments.
Okay.
So,
That's for Randy.
yeah, most of that's, at least another 150,000 of that stuff will be spent. That much I can assure you, but there might be some left over. That's some of the software FX money.
Yeah, it's almost 300, so I mean, you'd be looking at, I mean, roughly 150 with, after your purchases.
We can definitely look at it.
All right, how about the special agency supplies, 134,806, you've only used 1.6%.
That's the year-end,
That's the year-end order.
or where we order our annual supplies and our replacement parts stuff, yeah. And
All right, there should be much less of that with the money we approved to redo all that, right? Or are you just talking about handhelds again?
It's the same
No,
as far as,
that's generally antennas, batteries, all that other stuff.
expendable equipment.
That's the.
A lot of antennas and a lot of batteries.
Well, that's not just
but
the only things that are purchased. We can give you a line item rundown of all the things that we order per year, so that way you have a outlook of what we're spending on.
Understood, you have to keep it going. I totally
and
understand
that way
that.
it's a little more visual if you can actually see what
I'm
we're
just
spending
thinking,
on.
moving forward with the money that we appropriated to redo all that, none of that's included?
No, the end user equipment is not included in the upgrade. That was only the backbone of the system.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Bailey. Further council questions or comments left to my right? Councilor Wants.
Thank you both for your answers here. Just a couple of questions on the 26, 27 proposed budget numbers. You've got about $10,000 worth of things that are not fully explained. So if you could talk about the all other for 3,400 and the 52,225 support services, the specialized agency supplies increase of $4,000 and the general supplies increase of $1,500. Just talk a little bit about those 3 items and why they're increasing at those rates.
So the general office supplies, one of the ones you were looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so that one is actually 4,500, not 45,000 on one of the books. It's way out stated, so it's actually 4,500. So 3,000 and 1,000. That's on page 148 if you're looking at that one.
Right. I'm looking for, you're saying last year it was budgeted at 3,000 and you're asking for 4,500 for this year. So I'm wondering why the $1,500 increase request. You've basically added 50% to that line over last year. What is the increase?
It's tools. So we've been doing more of our own repairs.
Okay.
Keep portables, mobiles on the road and less time sent away to L3. So we're trying to save the town money by keeping those mobiles, portables, and control stations fixed here, because it's usually like a 3 to 6 week wait time for them to go out. And if we can fix it here, we can get them back usually within the day or a couple days, depending on what the problem is.
Okay. And the specialized agency supplies, an increase of 4,000, is that similar, or what is the increase needed for there?
That's basically the cost of the equipment going up, and that was the increase that we've had for that one.
And last one, just under the support services is all other $3,400. What does the all other $3,400 comprise?
For specialty agency supplies, it's basically what we do use for that is our maintenance on some of the equipment that we have, as far as generators, UPSs, things like that. So that was the increase in some of the cost on those. Because right now we're going to be slowly replacing UPSs. The generator maintenance is actually going to go down because we've got the brand new generator at the Kelleher site. So that and maybe our HVAC, once we start replacing some of the HVAC equipment, will go down. We just held that number from last year, and with the quotes we've been getting, those prices have gone up a little bit, so we're just trying to match with maintenance and everything else, because some of the older equipment that we do have still, the maintenance costs are going up because it's harder to find parts and availability. So that was some of the rise in the cost on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Wands. Further council questions or comments? I just have one, is on the Harris contract, Bob and John. So I noticed 226 to 284, roughly an increase of 62,000. Is that the new contract kicking in, or is that the old contract that's just an increase in?
That's the nominal increase from the old contract going forward. So there was, and I think that's actually some of the new pricing as well, if I'm not mistaken, so.
I'm in the 52,220, the Harris contract, 226 to 284.
Yeah, sort of maintenance contract, it's going to be 284,054. So that was the nominal increase, or the yearly increase.
That's the new contract, though, and the
yes,
increase.
If I could speak, it'd be one.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to know if that was the new contract. Okay. That's all I had. You guys are good. Thank you. Appreciate the work you do. It's important work. And if no one else is there, we're going to go to our next.
Councilor Bailey, if you'd like, I can get you a breakdown of stuff, just that way it's a little bit better for
Appreciate it.
transparency and so people know what's going on.
Not doubting you.
Oh, I know, I
Anybody,
like to have it there for people.
does anybody have questions on the CIP stuff while they're here, before we bring Eric up? No? Thank you.
Yeah, if I can just clarify for the CIP stuff for the HVAC. The HVAC and generator, we've done one full site, and that was one of the things I meant to say that we've completed for the last year. The Kelleher site has been completely redone with both the shelters that we own with the HVAC systems. So it's actually 4 HVAC systems, 2 per shelter. This year, we're going to be doing 2 more shelters with 4 HVAC systems, and if we can with the generator to go forward as well, that will replace the last generator that we have at the Callahan site. So the Callahan site and the PD's shelter will be the new HVAC systems, and the generator will be going to the Callahan site. And that will take us out of generators for a long time.
Good. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Have a good night. Erica, you are up. Social, Youth, and Senior Services. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do. When you're ready, the floor is yours.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Did everyone get a little goodie that I left a couple goodies behind the desk?
We hope, yes.
I'm not going to go through this, so don't worry.
Thank you.
But I did want to just reference that this is a great first look at kind of our department and what we do. And it's something that you can use to talk to other folks about with it. Okay. So, good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council members, and Town Executive Team. My name is Erica Texera, and I am the Director of Social, Youth, and Senior Services. Thank you for your continued support of the vital work our department performs for the Wethersfield community. Your leadership ensures our town remains a place of support, opportunity, and collective care. I want to highlight the incredible dedication of our staff, whom I describe in my words as hope merchants. They serve as a bridge to critical resources for our most vulnerable residents, providing support with empathy, compassion, and dignity. Whether they are facilitating a food security program, housing referrals, specialized support for seniors or youth, our team consistently goes above and beyond to maintain the social fabric of Wethersfield. So thank you again for being an active partner in our community's well-being. I just wanted to go over just a few highlights of this year. Is that okay before? I don't have much in my budget, so.
Please, go right ahead.
Okay. So just moving right in, kind of broken down into different parts of our department. Youth service, we continue to collaborate wonderfully with all the Wethersfield Public Schools. We're in all the buildings. We have staff that work closely with different departments within the schools, and also with WEC, the Wethersfield Early Childhood Collaborative. We are working constantly to enhance our youth diversion team, which is our juvenile review board. We're excited that we're going to be offering another round of summer youth employment this summer. That's been a very successful program since we brought it back 3 years ago, and we're able to increase those numbers. We hope Wethersfield helping others through prevention and education. They're doing great stuff in the prevention world. We have a prevention coordinator who is out there all over the community. Many of you will remember we came about 2 months ago and shared some data information with you guys about recent surveys that we had, both an adult wellness survey and a youth voice count survey. We are currently still waiting to hear back about the next 5-year funding for Drug-Free Community Grant with the federal government. That grant was put on hold and we had to reapply for it this past winter, and we, fingers crossed, should be hearing back very soon. So let's all keep our fingers crossed for that. But we continue to explore grant opportunities and apply for them as they come across. In terms of our senior center and senior services, program participation has been great. It continues to increase. Our Dial-A-Ride program is well received by many of our most vulnerable residents here in town, and some that didn't even know it existed and just love to use it as an additional service that they can use time here and there. Outreach to senior and disabled subsidized housing, which we have a good amount of them here in Wethersfield, continues to grow, and we will continue to work with those sites. We're excited to launch a pilot program there. We're going to be doing outreach therapeutic rec services. So that's going to start this spring and hopefully continue throughout the year and see how it goes. We were very lucky to get a $200,000 legislative grant this past year. We've pretty much spent all of the $200,000 this week. We just completed it all. So we had some exciting things that you'll be seeing coming through. Some you've already seen with some of the enhancements at the senior center. We are slated to get another $200,000 for this upcoming fiscal year. We just won't know definite until the state budget has passed. So that's pretty much for our senior center and senior services. A little on just social services. Households are taking advantage and utilizing the resources. We have a lot of families and residents, households that are in need, and we continue to support them. We are excited that we're rebranding what used to be the Wethersfield Hunger Action Team to work on food securities here in Wethersfield. We launched a kickoff meeting last month. We held our second meeting, and we have a lot of community members, residents, stakeholders who are looking to get involved and very eager to get the work done. So we're excited about that. We have the Mayor's Charity Ball coming up that will support a lot of our initiatives in our department. We also are now working with the Town Fair Rent Commission to be a support as like a triage in the beginning when we get the referrals to see what needs are maybe missed or how we can assist with resources. In terms of just some stuff that we've been seeing throughout the year, which is kind of continuing through the past years, food security issues, homelessness, shelter, which tends to be a more system state problem, but we continue to be at the table for those discussions. Cost of living, we see that it has increased tremendously this year, so some of our residents who necessarily maybe weren't struggling in the past have come to us as new residents in need. Mental health, behavioral health issues, we are constantly working with residents, but also providers to see what's out there and how we can connect to resources. We partner a great deal with the police department, health department, fire department, and even building department on crisis that might come up, from anything from homelessness to hoarding to shut-off notices to displacements. So there's a lot of that going on as well. So that kind of covers kind of a broad view, and that little pamphlet kind of goes over a lot of our programs that we offer throughout the year. And there's many more, they just don't all, we can't put them all on paper. So if you have a need, our staff will go and find the resource to connect with. Does anybody have a question so far, or you just want me to get into the actual printout?
You can keep going, Erica.
Okay, great. So as you see, I'm going to go right to the printout that we all have for the proposed budget. There's not much that has changed. You'll see that there was a salary increase because of the drug-free community grant that was put on hold this past year. That was supposed to show an offset for our prevention coordinator, and right now we're just in limbo waiting for that. So this year we did not secure that funding because they did not release funding through the federal government. So we're hoping that we get that grant, and that it will start as of July 1st of this year, and that is for 5 years, consecutive years. So that will then show an offset to that salary. Did you guys want to go over the FICA defined contributions? Okay, we don't have to go through that. And then non-personnel, there's just a $25 increase, and that's just because our state dues went up for our Youth Service Bureau. You will see next, number 2, requested positions. This is for the program assistant for our department here in Town Hall that assists with food bank operations, as well as triaging when we have folks that just stop by the office or are here for an appointment. That is primarily what that position focuses on, as well as supporting any of our special programs that you'll see in the brochure throughout the year. And we have no CNEF requests, and we have no CIP requests. So that's kind of it for our budget.
Thank you, Erica.
you.
Appreciate it. Fred, do you want to add to?
Yeah, I just want to provide a clarification. So under the requested positions, this is, those of you that know Dot downstairs does the food bank stuff. This position was unintentionally omitted last year when we did the budget. We ended up adding it after the fact, working with you all. But because we copied over, it didn't get added back again. So that's why you're seeing it here. It should be in there. And so we are asking for that. It's a position that exists today. It's a position that someone is in. And it was just omitted from the budget book. So we need to add that in there.
And that $30,000 is the cost?
Correct.
Thank you, Fred, for that clarification. Erica, thank you. Appreciate all the work you do. I'm going to open it up for questions and comments. I think Deputy Mayor Rhodes and then Councilor Bailey. I think, Jane, I saw your hand first. Deputy Mayor Rhodes.
So first, Erica, thank you for all of the care that the department gives to the community. You guys do so much with so little to really take care of everybody. Especially this last year, it's been rough all around. So I had one question. I'm looking at the staffing, and I'm struggling with math. Is the prevention coordinator new for this upcoming year? Should that be in under the fiscal year 25-26 as a position?
So the prevention coordinator was in the budget this past year currently. Prior to that, it was all grant funded, but we decided this upcoming year to put it in the budget and show an offset because we were applying for another 5-year of the grant. Unfortunately, the federal grant is on pause. We had to reapply given the executive orders. So we're waiting to hear. So they are currently in the budget right now. Yeah.
So I guess where I'm confused is, do you see what I'm looking at?
Yeah.
on the chart.
Well,
Where
this,
it shows, it looks like it's a new position for 26, 27, but
page 196.
not.
For those.
Oh, page
So
196.
I just got,
New cost to us.
It's a new cost, yeah.
Without the grant.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's showing up as new.
We don't get a grant, we need to fund it.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right.
All
Great.
set,
That's it.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you.
Counselor Bailey?
Well, that may, excuse me, that may have answered my question. Is that the position Fred was just talking about?
No, that's a different position. This is, the
What's that?
prevention coordinators is, we had in the budget last year, it actually was in there, but then we had an immediate offset in the budget.
Okay.
Because we knew we knew we had the grant. So it didn't show up as a cost to the town. This year, obviously this person's still in the role. We're putting it in the budget because we don't know yet if that grant is going to be there. We're hopeful. And I think there's reason for hope there. But
So it's a seated position now?
correct. So we just want to make sure it's budgeted in the event that we don't get the grant, because we don't want to be, because we don't know when we're going to hear, because everything in the federal government right now is kind of crazy. But it's a critical position that we've had now for a few years. Does a lot of really important work. So we feel it's important that we represent it in the budget.
As a lesser
All right, so-
value?
No, 1 second. Counselor Bailey, then
So
Counselor
is that the extra 100 and whatever thousand in their salary budget?
So that's part of it. And I think the number, Mike, you want to provide some clarification. It does show a lesser amount.
Sorry,
for
we were trying.
26, 27 for the prevention coordinator position versus last year. Why is that? Do you have a?
Last year, it had the, not to speak for Mike, but last year we were showing the offset with the benefits attached to it.
Okay, that
together.
was why. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
benefits are now below because we're assuming the cost in the budget.
Yeah.
So the benefits are elsewhere in the budget. So that's the difference. So this is the salary line,
Yes.
whereas before it was the all-in line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Counselor
Thank you.
Giorgio?
You're welcome.
Thank you, Counselor Bailey. Counselor?
I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike.
That answered my question, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further council questions or comments? Well, I'll just say, Erica, the amount of work that you guys do is amazing in helping our most vulnerable people, our residents most in need. And I know the needs are rising, and I know the number of families and individuals that you support, and we are deeply grateful. So thank you for all you do. It's very much appreciated. If we don't have anything else,
Hold on. We have schools coming. So,
oh, we have the Board of Ed.
yes.
So,
So we're with Erica, but don't do what I thought you were going to do. Yeah.
yeah, so.
Should we take a recess?
Motion to
Because they
adjourn.
were-
Can we recess?
So, does anybody have anything else for Erica?
No, but thank you, everyone. I
Thank
really
you, Erica,
appreciate
for-
everything, and you're not so bad as a roommate, Ken, downstairs. No, I'm just kidding. We
You have-
appreciate it.
No, we appreciate all the work you do. I do it. I see it there. But I do have a lot of pasta boxes now.
Yes, you do. We take over every space possible.
Thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Erica. I will let you all know that I did text the superintendent about 15 minutes ago and told him that things were running very quickly because they were scheduled for 7:45, which is why he was planning on coming at 7:30. I said, you might want to speed that up because we're moving pretty quickly tonight. And he said at the time that he would be here in 20 minutes, which is 5 minutes from now. So if you want to take a 5-minute recess.
Motion to take a 5-minute recess?
Second.
Because it wasn't in here.
Wishful thinking.
We motioning for recess?
I made a motion.
I'll second it.
Counselor Wands made a motion.
Motion.
Wands.
Motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're in recess. Thank you.
Pause.
Stay on it.
Okay.
just waiting for,
Thanks, Kathleen.
good? Sue?
Okay.
Okay, good. We're going to need a motion to come out of recess.
Motion to end recess.
Seconded.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Well, welcome, Mr. Superintendent, our business manager. We're happy to have you guys here. Thank you for being here. I know you've been coming early, and we're ahead of schedule, which we appreciate you guys coming here. And I know you've been here a few times. Thank you. So I don't know.
Happy to be here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent, I don't know if you wanted to make some opening comments, either one of you, and then we'll proceed quickly to questions or comments from the council. But
I mean, we don't have anything changed at this point or new from the last presentation. So we don't have any opening statements or changes at this time.
okay, thank you, and appreciate all the information you've already provided us. Well, with that, and I know we've already had a chance to review the budget and ask questions of these gentlemen, but I'm going to open it up for questions tonight and comments. Does any, Councilor Bailey?
Enrollment. Current year to next year, not the exact numbers of what, but what do you see for a difference in next year's enrollment?
And, I mean, I appreciate that you said get us close to the pin, but you don't need to, we're going to be, you know, within 50 or 60 kids of the current year, one way or the other. I don't want to be too precise, but we're not seeing way up or way down at this point.
No, and I think the previous 10-year enrollment study was pretty stable for the town with those kind of dozen fluctuations in that area.
What I can tell you is a little bit of a follow-up is we are planning on doing a new 10-year enrollment plan next year because, and then again when Highcrest is open, because we've been advised that that process may shift it one way or the other, and it would behoove us to get a more accurate one. So we may want to get a couple of those in the next 3 years.
No, and I understand, 10 years is tough to see what's going to happen in 10 years. I mean, even 5 years. So you're saying either way, it's going to be about the same?
Pretty close, yeah.
I'm good for now.
Thank you, Councilor Bailey. Further council questions or comments? Councilor Wans.
Thank you both for being here again. I'm just wondering, the last time that we met, the superintendent gave an estimate of what the cost savings would be due to the new medical plan. I'm not sure if you have the exact numbers and what that changes the overall department increase to.
If we're looking at the 8.5 versus 13.5, we'll drop about 0.5%, just under the 4% year-over-year increase.
Thank you.
Councilor Wans.
Good.
If no one else, I just have a couple quick ones. Can you comment on the bus contract and where we are and how that's working? And then I have a quick question on special ed, and then we may be able to wrap up. So
we have one more year with autumn transportation. That was our most recent amendment. And then at that point, we can discuss either an additional 3-year amendment to the contract or post an RFP and solicit bids from other vendors.
And I'm guessing anecdotally that ridership has been down. I mean, when I go by the schools and even here, you see Silas, Deane Middle School, the amount of parents picking up their children. I know this is not just a trend in Wethersfield, all over, but I don't know if that impacts kind of the future contracts, but.
Every year we look at our ridership and we determine if there are parent guardians who will opt out permanently for the year, so then we can remove a stop or adjust the routes, but legally we are obligated to provide that transportation, and on an annual basis it's very few that actually give us the okay to remove the student from the route.
Got it.
If once they sign that paperwork, we can take them and that helps us reduce, but there's always, the family always kind of feels like, well, what if the one day or the 2 days that our transportation option falls through? It's nice to have the backup plan. So it's very difficult for us to talk a family into, you know, taking themselves off. So it's hard for us.
Understood. And my last question is on special ed. And I know these costs for Wethersfield and all the districts are exorbitant. And I know we've had a philosophy to try and bring back as many students as we can and educate them in district. And I don't know if you can comment on how that's going or some future plans, but I think the whole council is aware, but it's worth repeating. This is a huge part of the budget, and a single student, think of, I have a daughter in college right now, so I don't mind telling you, it's about $40,000 a year. We could have a single student, $150,000 for one student, higher. I know there's been some talks at the state level, maybe capping those costs, which would be great for Wethersfield, all these towns, but maybe you can give us a comment on, because that is such a huge part of the budget we don't have a lot of control over, but it's important. So,
in the last 6 or 7 years, special ed costs have really skyrocketed based on a few things. One is transportation. Transportation costs for outplacements have become, they were always high, but now they've become outrageous. And, this isn't, nothing that you could help us with, but the legislature has talked about capping transportation costs for vendors transporting kids out of district. So that's always a big number. And similarly, there's been talk, but nothing has become actionable at the state legislature about capping outplacement rates as well with some of these, these vendors. But it is expensive, and we're highly motivated to try to keep kids home in Wethersfield for multiple reasons, for monetary reasons, but also so that they're, they may not be in class with their friends, but they might be able to go to phys ed class or maybe go out to recess with an aide. So even for educational reasons, we do want to, it's not even just for the money. We do want to keep the kids home in Wethersfield for multiple reasons, certainly.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal, and I know we've been working on it for years, and I hope they can look at capping some of those costs, and I hope they can audit some of the vendors, because, I know they do really important work, but 150 to 200,000, and a lot of those vendors, they're very profitable, and I'm not sure the costs have been scrutinized and audited, and that would help us. But I appreciate the efforts being made to more in-house. I think it's better when we can for the student, certainly better for the budget. So thank you. Appreciate all the work you're doing. Welcome here. I know it's your first budget and first year. We appreciate the work. Get a lot of really good feedback about you. Always appreciate the work you do. And yes, Councilor Wands.
Just one last question. I was looking back over my notes. I know, Superintendent, when we met, because you've passed the budget so long ago, you were going off to UConn and you had hopes that you might be able to hire some of the positions you budgeted at a higher salary, at a lower rate if you were able to hire some people at starting out. Do you have any adjustments to your new higher salaries as opposed to where you originally passed the budget?
So we're at about halftime in the game right now, and we're up like 21-0. We were able to hire 2 chemistry teachers at like step 1 and 2, which is like insane. Like our assistant superintendent she's a miracle worker. That's like her thing is talent management, and she really hustles to not only hire the really best people, but she really hustles, and she's gotten to several career fairs. I think we've also gotten a math person at step 1. These are jobs that, a lot of times you're hiring step 8, 9, or 10, $80,000, $90,000. So right now we're in really good shape. We still have a handful more hires to go. And if we keep on this trajectory, it'll give us some breathing room. If it only takes a couple of top steps to kind of foil your, we're like, oh, if we can keep doing this puts us in a better place. And again, when you do that, it's not even for 1 year. You get you yield like 6 or 7 years of, budget savings before they start moving up. So, I'm not being evasive. We still have enough hires left, but we're off to a great start because I was really terrified about the 2 chemistry. It's just such a shortage area to find, folks like that in that area. So we're off to a really good start.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Wands. Deputy Mayor Rhodes and Councilor Bailey.
Hi, Superintendent. Quick question I was thinking about the special ed costs and keeping kids in the schools, coupled with class sizes, the conversation about that we were having about Hamner and the rising sixth graders. When you've got a class of 27 kids and none of them really have a particular extra needs, that's a lot to manage. When you have a class of 27 and 15 of them have got any particular extra needs, it's unmanageable for teachers. And so then that impacts on students in their whole, like sort of the overall experience. So I'm wondering, do you feel like you've got what you need to make sure that those kids who are being integrated into classrooms have the support they need so that it's also not rippling over and impacting on their peers? Because that becomes an issue, and that's something that we've been hearing about from parents.
We're keeping our eye on a couple of situations. Parents want us to make a decision like a month ago for next year. And I tell them, there's two variables that we don't have in hand yet. One is the kinder registration. Kinder's got like a little bit of an uptick from last year, but that could just mean people are enrolling earlier. It might not mean at the end of the day we'll have a larger number. And I've seen like in the month of August, 25 kids come and sign up for kindergarten that you didn't know about too. So the first variable is what's going to happen with kinder. And the second variable is, what the decision-making process that you good people, make, here with our budget. A couple of areas that we've all received quite a bit of, correspondence with, we're keeping our eyes on, and we kind of have like a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, depending on, what we're looking at budgetarily. So we are kind of looking with some different types of contingencies. Each contingency is, got its pros and cons, certainly, some of it might be adding a certified staff member, to a particular grade level. Some of it might be, adding a certified staff member that's a specialist, like a math teacher or a reading teacher, that could help support that grade level. So you make those class sizes a little bit smaller during reading or math. So it takes a burden off the teacher and the learner. But the good news with that is, for instance, if that was 5th grade, well, an hour later, that person goes to 6th grade and does the same thing there, or 4th grade. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck, because there are a lot of teaching times when those 27 kids are together in a cohort that you may not need a full-time third person, like, when they're in the cafeteria or when they're in phys ed or, in various other places. So, that's kind of one of our other plans, is to try to compromise. You might have a staff member, but then that staff member might also support other grades as well. You don't want to have a binary. Once you hit a certain number, boom, we're going to hire another 3rd grade teacher. So those are that's kind of plan B. I prefer plan B over plan A, quite frankly, but we are definitely looking at, multiple options depending on where we fall on the, the budgetary spectrum.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Bailey?
All right, just to go on Councilor Wan's a little deeper, retirements and not renewed tenure, however you want to put that. Do you have a more solid number? And I'm not looking for dollars, I'm just how many people you feel. And is it district-wide between elementary, middle, and high school?
Just got another one yesterday. Did that take us to 8?
It has increased since our initial budget proposal, mostly at the secondary level.
Okay.
But we are working
Any type, 10, 15, 300?
No, I believe it's right around the 10 mark, probably under that, still single digits.
And that's district-wide?
Yes.
You have about 8 and 10.
Just looking at the certified positions.
All right, and when we were interacting with the public during the building project, one of their main concerns, which I agreed with, was safety. I still don't see extra safety in here. And I know you weren't here for most of that. How come?
We have some contingencies for safety, depending on where we fall. At some point, I personally, I know you had kind of mentioned last time, you're talking about safety personnel. Mm-hmm. At some point, I would like to see safety personnel in the elementary schools, whether that might be, we call them building and ground patrol. I like to call them building and ground patrol officers. I'd love to hire retired police officers. That would be the type of pathway that I'd like to follow. But just this year, there's a lot of things that we really wanted to do this year that we just put on the back burner, and that was on my list of if we were to if we were to find savings or have an opportunity that we would revisit. That was one thing, along with there were a handful of other things that we were thinking about.
Now, are there any positions, and I'm not saying there are, in the retirements that you could put some money towards safety?
Yeah, if we continue on this pathway, like I said, we're up 21-0 at halftime. If we continue in this pathway, that does give us some on the fly. We always want to stick with our budget. But as you know, sometimes the budget gets better. Sometimes I've seen it get worse, as you kind of go. So it would be something, it is something that we're actively talking about. I would love to, go speak with Chief Medina about, potentially looking at, some retirees coming and helping us out next year. But
I'm sure he'd be open to that.
Yeah, he is. He and I have had an initial conversation. He's been extremely open to that. And he said, like a lot of the folks that are on the retired list would probably be very interested as well. So, ultimately, that's something I would love to do. If we don't do it this year, I'm going to go to bat for it again next year or the year after. It's something important. I was the superintendent of the Connecticut Technical High School system. When I was there, I think when I started, we might have had 5 or 6 troopers. By the time I left, I think I had a trooper in every single one of the technical high schools except maybe 1 or 2. So I
retired troopers?
No, these were full SROs, full-time SROs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know they're full-time SROs, but were they retired troopers or still on the job?
These were active duty troopers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hired them so that they were there every day, all the time, full-time.
Well, it's good to see that safety is important to you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I come from a family of on my mother's Irish side, they're all teachers or police officers. So.
Thank you, Councilor Bailey. Thank you. Councilor Pentelow, and then I have Councilor Durk after you. Councilor Pentelow.
How many, thank you, sir. How many safety officers do you have within the school district?
We just have the 2 SROs, one at the high school and one at the middle school. And
I thought you have some.
We have other security, but not.
Well, there's safety, right? Safety officers.
Yeah, we have 1 at the middle school and 3 at the high school, I believe.
Do they go to the elementary school?
They do not.
When needed, if there's something going on, they will go over and lend a hand. They're really good about something's brewing. They jump in the cruiser and they head right over. If there's an investigation, if something's going on in the neighborhood. Our two officers are great. They'll head right over to help. They've been wonderful partners, for us, as has been the chief and the team over at Wethersfield Police.
See, the SRO program, when Councilor Bailey was asking you for the technical school, so that was split between your budget and the police budget, and we might be able to find some. Not that we got no money, we can't spend any money. But there should be some money to be able to fund, like you said, off-duty officers, retired policemen. I was an assistant director in Hartford, and I had 2 to 3 safety officers in every school, and it was important for me at the middle school level and the elementary school level, because, like I said, cowards that go after a school are afraid of high school kids. They'll go after them, and we could see that in most of the school shootings. You'll see the high school, but it was a high school student that did the shooting. So just keep that in mind, that I think safety, when a kid feels safe, they learn. They feel comfortable, they learn. So
it's the first mandate for learning is physical, social, emotional safety. If you don't have that, you don't have anything else. I would like nothing better than to have 1 SRO assigned to the 5 elementary schools and a BGPO at every school, at some point. When we come on better financial times, I promise you, I'll be asking for us to kind of scale up to that. But, this was not a great year to ask for everything.
It's still not.
Yeah, I know. We really, we appreciate how generous the taxpayers have been to the schools this year. I mean, they gave us a historical gift, and we don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth this year. They were wonderful to the schools.
Thank you, Councilor Pennell. Councilor Durk.
Thank you, Mayor. I thought we would be done like 10 minutes ago, but thank you for being with us again. Two questions. One is when somebody retires and we hire a new person, roughly what are we looking at as far as the savings goes per position between the salary, benefits, and everything else?
It depends. Our top step for teachers is about $111,000. And, then you have fringe benefits on top of that. I don't know. Our first step is what, about 53, 55?
Yeah, it's going to vary if it's elementary versus secondary position too.
So if you hire somebody green right out of UConn or Central, in the mid-50s, there's times when you have no choice but to hire, like if AP Physics ever opens up, you're going to be fighting with 10 other school districts because there's so few teachers. So it depends on where they are in the shortage area and how marketable they are. So that's why I'm really being strict on the principals and the assistant superintendent to hire younger kids right now because it's a year where we really need some savings. But there'll be times where, we always want to put the best teacher in front of the kids. And sometimes the best teacher is a young kid right out of school. Sometimes we're stealing somebody from Rocky Hill or Cromwell in a really hard to staff area. As you can imagine, it's really hard to hire science teachers, math teachers, and world language teachers are very difficult to find right now.
So the goal would be to hire somebody out of college? Okay.
And you can have all things being equal, you want to try to get somebody who's, has the least amount of experience.
Okay. Then on the safety side, do you have, or how often do you have instances where you really need a police officer in elementary school on day-to-day basis, or would this be more that, God forbid, something goes crazy, we have somebody there?
I think Councilor just mentioned it well. I think we always want to harden our campuses, and you can harden your campuses in many different ways with access control policies, access control devices, cameras, bollards. Probably the hardest, the way you harden your campus the most is with an SRO. They deter the most, so. I don't want to underscore it. I mean, they're important, and they do so much other things. Like the gentleman said, they make the kids feel safe. They become part of the community. The best part about having them in an elementary school is young kids start to learn that police officers are extremely trustworthy, people that they can go to if they have a problem, that police officers solve problems for them. So it helps. They call it community policing, as you know. And that's a big key to having them in the elementary schools, not to catch people or to, sometimes people think that they're there to catch the kids doing. A lot of the times the police officers, the SROs, are actually advocating for the kids, helping them, and and just building good partnerships with the parents. The families feel safer, the staff feels safer. They're just like I said, I had a lot of them in one of my previous districts. And everybody just feels better about having them there.
I understand the benefits. Just want to make sure there is no immediate need as far as what's happening every day. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Durk. Further council comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate all the work you're doing and all the work you've done on the budget. And 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be making our decision, May 13th. So, councilors, we have a meeting tomorrow night at 6. We have one more budget workshop after that, May 4th at 6, and then budget adoption date again is May 13th. If there's nobody who has anything else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Way too early, I want to stay.